My wife was in here a couple of weeks ago.
Hi, everybody.
It's like a Mercury soul. And it's similar to that.
Hi, welcome to our scope.
Other smaller ones, or?
We are doing a design tip of the day today. We're going to be giving these to you guys throughout the week when we have some time to sit down and share with you guys some of the tips and tricks that we use as designers to create the spaces that we do. So I'll tell you guys a little bit about ourselves. We are A.Clore Interiors, and my name is Amber. I am the owner, and you are here broadcasting live at our studio, and we are a licensed interior design firm. We do all types of design, from picking a paint color to doing complete remodels for clients, and it's what we do all day, every day, and we love it. So we wanted to ask you guys, why do you think we find spaces more appealing than others? Can you guys give me any hints as to why we would like a space more than others? And I've got Desiree and Amelia behind the camera there, and they're going to be telling me some of your questions as we try our first design tip of the day for the first time. So we look forward to your feedback and hearing what you guys have any questions about paint theory or paint colors as we dive into this tip of the day. So color really does affect our physical and psychological psyches. So, and there's a correlation between colors and our moods. So there's a reason behind why in marketing or in design or in sales, why they use the colors that they do. So when you're thinking about like McDonald's, you know, why do they do the red and the yellow? Well, that's because red and orange and colors, that fire colors, make you hungry. So that really makes the consumer want to buy more or be hungry, so it entices them to want to stop into McDonald's and buy a Big Mac. So we call it color theory. So there's a theory behind why we pick the colors that we do, why we're drawn to the colors that we are, whether it's blue because it's soothing and relaxing, or we're going for a color that's bright and vivid and energetic like a red or orange or a yellow. So some quick tips when it comes to picking paint, because although it seems really, really simple, when we get a full deck of colors like this, it can get overwhelming very, very quickly. So we have a few quick tips when it comes to picking your paint color. And the first one is you want to start small. So it can be really challenging when you're looking at a big room trying to figure out exactly what color you want to paint the space. Do you want it bright and colorful? Do you want it neutral and lighter? So we want you to start small, and this is a process where you can start to look at it as an adventure. It's really fun. Picking paint color is fun. It shouldn't be daunting. So to get started, you want to pull a color from maybe something that you already have existing in your home, like a piece of artwork, a rug, maybe it's your favorite set of dishes. That's where you can start to pull the inspiration, because even as designers, we have to find that one piece that starts the whole design. So once you have found that inspiration piece, you then can start pulling your colors from that. So when you're doing paint colors, you want to think about your mood, because color and mood are so closely related to each other. You want to make sure that you're picking colors that are going to translate what you're trying to achieve. So in your master bedroom, are you looking for it to be soothing? Are you looking for it to be dramatic and bold? All of those different feelings or adjectives are going to relate to choosing a different color. Think about maybe in your children's room. Do you want your children to be energized and uplifted, or are we looking for them to be quiet and reserved and maybe a little bit more of a place to be a little bit more orderly? One good tip is when you're designing for your children and picking a paint color, you don't want to go with a paint color that's really, really bright and overly energetic, because actually colors like that, they can lead to irritability and unrest. So picking they might really love that Disney yellow or that Disney pink, but it's important that we do a color that's going to soothe their mind and make them be able to just be able to grow in the space and be able to not be too overstimulated or too energized. All right. So we've now kind of talked about those things. I want to stop for a second and see if anybody has any questions about what I've talked about so far. Are they asking questions down at the bottom? No? Well, that's quite all right. We'll move forward. Okay, so when we're talking about paint colors, it's really, really important that we pay attention to the lighting. So the lighting in the space is really going to determine what your color actually looks like. So, and your color actually changes throughout the day. So during, so your natural lighting, the light that comes through the windows, is going to be...
There's a question that says, for a living room, what's a good color to do for if you were going to have sell a house?
Okay, so we're resale. That's always a good question to ask. It's a perfect question. Thank you very much. Who was that? If you can tell me who that was who asked it. So when you're painting for resale, it's really important that you make sure that the bones of the home, when I say bones, what I mean is when everything's out, all your furniture's out, all the rugs and art are out, that it's going to be a neutral color that's going to transition, and that a new homeowner is going to envision as, okay, that's not a lot of work, because sometimes when you walk into a home and it's a paint color that it's like really bold, or maybe it's not your color, that equals like, oh, I have to paint. So we want to make it the home buying process or the home transition process as easy as possible for the next owner, so they can envision themselves in the space right away. So going with a color that's neutral, and neutral doesn't mean beige or white or blah. Neutral can still be a fun color, but if we go with something that has a little bit of a more a little bit more of a hue, and I'll go over in a minute what all the different words for paint mean, but if it has a little bit of a darker or deeper hue, it's going to transition and work a lot better. So I hope I answered your question there. Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for your question. I really appreciate it. So when it comes to lighting, daylight is when you're going to see the most truest paint color. So that's why I always have my clients look at their colors from like 5 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock at night, because it's going to change in that natural daylight as we go through the day. So daylight's the most natural. Incandescent, you're going to get, hold on one second, we have a question? Okay, what's the question?
Sarah was saying gray.
Grays are great. Grays are great. But we have to be careful with gray, because not a lot of people know this, but gray is actually a combination of all the colors together. So if you're not careful, you can get a gray that goes a little purple, right? Because this looks gray to me, but it also has like a little mauvey purple tone to it. Then we've got this gray, which you can put in. You can see how quickly that can go towards like a greeny, almost olivey type color. So gray is one of those colors that it can work really, really nicely in a space, but if you don't pick it correctly, it can look blue, purple, or pink. So we want to be careful with those. Okay, hope I answered that question for you. And then when it comes to the lighting too, when you're picking a gray color, if we pick a gray that has more yellow undertones, and we use a fluorescent light or a CFL light, that's going to brighten it up. So a CFL light gives off a blue hue. Your traditional incandescent light is going to give off a warmer, amber color when it comes to the lighting. So what light you pick is really going to affect the color, how it turns as well. So paying attention to lighting is important. Some of the terms that I've been using, just so that you guys can understand what it means. Hue, the word hue actually is a word for color. So red, blue, green, yellow, all of those are hues. Then we have a value. So a value inside of a hue is the shade of it. So it's really how much black or how much white is in the color. So pink is a value of red, the hue. Does that make sense? My girls are like, yes, that makes sense. So, and then when you have words like saturation, and you'll see that a lot when you're like editing your photos on your iPhone, the word saturation, it just really means how much of that color is really prevalent. So again, pink is a saturation of red. That's how we get our colors. You're adding white to it or adding dark to it to make it lighter or darker. And then the intensity, of course, is the brilliance of the color. How vivid is the color? And that's where you can play with your transparency. So how much you're seeing of the color or how little you're seeing is the intensity of it. So, any questions right at this moment? No. Okay, we'll move on. I've got a couple more tips for you guys. So if you want to have a more active space, you want to consider more stronger, vivid colors. For a light colored room, you want to pick off-white or pastel colors, but you want to be careful when you do that, because if you pick a color that's too white or too pastel-y, it can actually make the space seem washed out. So the best thing to do with that is actually pick two colors that are closely related and use them, whether it's on the wall and the trim or the wall and the ceiling, which will really add a layering effect, a kind of depth effect that happens to it, so it doesn't seem like it's all very white or sterile. So adding something with a little bit of a color to it, it's going to work really well for you guys there. And then that brings me into my next and one of my most important things that I always notice is don't forget the fifth surface. The fifth surface. Can anybody guess what the fifth surface is? Anybody? So the fifth surface is the ceiling. Like the ceiling, it's the most forgotten place, I think, in the home, and it really can bring the most impact to a space. So don't forget the fifth surface. If you want to add drama, you want to add a stronger color and on the ceiling. And when the ceiling is tinted, or the ceiling has a hue on it or a color on it, it really can bring in a boldness to the space and really create some drama. So if you're afraid of painting the ceiling because it's going to make it seem lower or smaller, get that out of your head. It actually is going to bring some interest and excitement to the space, because it's going to bring people's eye up to that forgotten space that nobody really ever looks at, unless there's a really fantastic chandelier or something like that on it, which we'll add that too. That's layering, and that's our next scope. Layering. So I guess the moral of the story is don't be afraid to go beyond your comfort zone with color. Consider strong and vivid colors for your space. Deep neutrals, like maybe it's a chocolate, like a chocolate brown or like an olive color. Have some fun. Like, I love this color. It's beautiful. So have some fun with your color this year. Step outside of the box, step outside of the beige, step outside of the gray, because gray has been very in over the past couple years, but guess when things come in, they go out. So we're going to get something new and fun and play with the color and really bring some excitement to the space. If you guys have any questions about color theory or any more questions about what we talked about here today, I'm super happy to answer any of those questions. You can go to our website. It's A.CloreInteriors.com. You can tweet us. You can go on our Instagram, really anywhere, and we would be happy to answer your questions. Do we have any on the chat right now?
What is the next big color deal?
The next big color deal. Well, it's really funny because Pantone, who is the leading color expert in graphic design, pretty much anything that has to do with color, they always predict what the color of the year is going to be. And this year, the color of the year was a color called Marsala. I don't think I have it here. It's kind of like a deep red, kind of like a deep red burgundy color, I would say. And what I thought it was going to really hit hard, and it really hasn't. Last year we saw the Radiant Orchid, which was that light purpley kind of pinky color, which went everywhere. I mean, I was seeing it in bags and marketing and in ads and logos everywhere. We haven't really seen this Marsala color come about too much, but you never know. We still have a few months left of the year, and of course Christmas is coming up, so we know that color is going to be hot for Christmas. And then as far as what up and coming colors, I really think the vivids are really in right now. I love, let me see if I can find this color real fast for you guys.
Sarah said red is harsh, her kitchen's red.
Red is harsh. Well, you don't, you don't want to paint your kitchen red because it's against feng shui. Your kitchen is a fire zone. No, we don't want to say that. It's like the fire area when it comes to feng shui of the 5 elements. So if your kitchen is already heavy in fire element, you don't want to go and paint your walls red because that's just adding more of the fire element. You want to balance it with the water element. So using colors like blues and water elements, having maybe a fishbowl, or using things to off balance that. The other tip about using color in the kitchen, if your appliances are black, that is a water. It's black and metal. Those are all kind of towards the water element. So put a red like a red teapot or something on top of a black stove, and that'll balance the energy on the stove so we don't have too many water elements going on in the space. So that was a little feng shui tip for you guys too. We're going to do lots of chats about feng shui and color theory. I mean, we've just got tons and tons of information and content to give to you guys, and we're just kind of in this information giving stage where we want to just kind of let everybody know what we can do and how we can provide help for our clients. We can work with you guys on all levels. We love helping with just picking the perfect paint color, or if maybe you need to figure out what walls you need to knock down, we can help do that too, because we are a licensed interior design firm. So it's different than a decorator who just picks paint and pillows and color. We actually figure out the health of your home, the function of your home, how it's going to work for you and your family, and how it's going to uplift you guys from within, and then kind of set your tone for your day as you go out throughout the day. It really all starts at home. So we perfect the function and the health of your home ultimately. Any other questions about paint theory, paint color? If there's anything you guys want to hear about or tips that you would want us to chat about, we'd love to hear from that. We are so happy that you joined us for our very first ever Design Scope tip of the day. Make sure you give us a little follow. The little guy down there, am I pointing at it right? The little guy, click the number and follow us. Share this out if you liked like what you had to hear about color theory. Let all your friends know. We want to. It's important that we have people watch live, but it's more important that we allow people to watch the replay. So if you share this out now, all of your friends will be able to get to watch this back and get a little tip about color theory, how to pick it, why to pick it, what colors mean, what colors don't mean, and how we can help you guys make your design dreams a reality. Bye, everybody. Hope you guys have a fantastic day, and we will catch you for our next Design Scope chat.